Actually, I'm going to move that down a bit.
Is that right?
Well, clearly x isn't 9. Wait, what?
Because you know it adds up to 180. If that's 52, that's 90, then that means...
Okay. Right, I'm just going to pause there because one of my students is struggling on the first one. So let's just have a look. Here we have a 90-degree angle. So we have a triangle where all the angles are up to 180. And if that's a 90 degree, that means x and 52. I'm just going to pause there because one of my students is struggling. Unfortunately, the stream is lagging, and one of my students has just put it on volume, and we can hear it. Anyway, we got 52 plus x is going to equal 90. Because obviously, if you've got a right angle triangle, that's 90. The whole triangle adds up to 180, so therefore the remaining angles add up to 90. So x will equal 90 minus 52, and therefore x will equal, what's that going to be? 38 degrees. There you go. So all these questions, you've got a right angle where the tangent meets the radius, and that's how you do them. We'll carry on with the rest. Okay, let's just quickly go through these. So in this question we have a quadrilateral where that is 90 and that is 90. So that leaves us 180 because angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360. So x plus 70 equals 180. So x equals 110. Here we've got this is 90. So therefore 5x and x is 6x must equal 90. So x equals 15 when you divide those two. Here we've got a quadrilateral 90 and 90, so 3x and x, that's 4x, must equal 180, so x will equal 45 when you divide those out. I'll put these on here, I'll write up the answers to these later, but we'll move on because we're running out of time. So this should hopefully, for 7s to 8s, this should be quite straightforward, but you do need to be able to do trigonometry in this question. So there's all the formulae for lengths and for angles. We're going to do question A and we're going to do question H. So I'm going to give you just a minute because you should be quite clued up if you're a 7 to 8 on trigonometry. Give you a minute to try and do question A first and then we'll go through it. Sorry, we were chatting away and missed the timer there. Okay, so let's just have a look at A. So the most important thing you should do when doing these questions is label your triangle. So there's your angle. Always label the hypotenuse, the longest side first. So there's the hypotenuse. And then label, that's the adjacent to the angle and that's the opposite. So it's quite important. So we see we've got adjacent hypotenuse, that's cos. A common thing I think students get wrong on this is to use the sine and cosine rule to do these problems. Much easier if you actually use these. The algebra becomes easier and you make less mistakes. So we know that cos of 37.8 degrees will equal the adjacent, or x, let's put x in, over 7.3. So therefore x will equal 7.3 times cos of 37.8. And if we use our calculator, which I've now lost. Okay, so I've lost my calculator. I'll get that in a bit. This will come out to be 5.77 when you round to, it was 5.768 so on, but to round to 3, it says to 2 decimal places, we get 5.77. So I'm just going to give you 1 minute to have a go at H. Off you go. Actually, I think 30 seconds because you should be quite good at that.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so you had enough time to do that really. So we label our triangle, hypotenuse, there's our angle, there's our opposite, there's our adjacent. So we got cos again. So we got cos x will equal 4.6 over 5.9. So x will equal inverse cos of 4.6 over 5.9. You could type this into your calculator first, this bit, press equals and then do inverse cos of it. So we get inverse cos of that, and we should get 38.72, which is equal to 38.8 degrees. Notice it's for, where does it say? I think it said, oh, you can't see it. It says 1 dp for these, but you didn't say that. That's why I've written it to 1 dp. So last topic you need to know to do this question is your arcs and your sectors formula. So key thing is to know your circumference formula, which is all the way around, 2 pi r. Area formula, pi r squared. You've got to learn that. Then the other two formulae become easy because the arc length is a fraction of the whole circle. So we just do the angle divided by 360 to get our fraction, and then we times that by the circumference. So if you can remember the circumference formula, you just divide by, times by the angle divided by 360. Same for the area formula for the sector. Okay, so that's the sector, that's an arc length. This is called a minor sector, in case you're wondering, and that's called the major sector in case they come up.
Is that because one's bigger than the other?
Well spotted, one's bigger than the other. So minor and major sector. And this is called a segment. When you just draw a line straight across, it's a segment. So a minor sector. So a sector is where you draw lines to the middle of the circle, and a segment is where you just draw a line straight across. So when you see questions on that, those are the different names you should know. Okay, so you need to know all these formulae to be able to do these types of questions. So let's look at one sector problem. So there's the formula on the left. I'm just going to zoom in a bit more so you can see it more easily. Now this is a multi-stage problem. What I'll do is I will give you a minute to do each section and go through each section after each minute.
use a GCSE.
Okay, in this question, it said use SOHCAHTOA to show the angle AOB equals 77.36. If we draw the triangle out, we got 8. We know that because it's an isosceles triangle, we cut this down the middle. This will cut this exactly in half. So that side will be 5, and that side will be 5. And we want to find the angle AOB, so we want to find that angle there. So let's find this angle first. Okay, so we've got this angle here. Let's call it angle X. So we know that we've got the opposite and we've got the hypotenuse and is adjacent. So we have sine of X equals 5/8. So X will equal inverse sine of 5/8. Which gives us 38.6. Now we don't need just X because that's X and that's X. We need 2X. So 2 times that comes out to be 77.364 and so on, which rounded to 4 significant figures or 2 decimal places is 77.36 degrees. So I'll give you a minute now to have a go at part B. Right, our minute's up. So let's just have a look at this. And yes, my students will try and remember the formula that gives the area of this triangle. And the area the formula you're going to use is that the area equals half AB sine C. So this will be our C, this will be our A, and this will be our B. So the area will equal half times 8 times 8 times sine of 77.36, and all the numbers. Don't use the rounded value. Whenever you do any working, use the most accurate answer, not the rounded answer, otherwise you get rounding errors in your answer. So I'm just going to move to a different colour now. And that will come out to be equal to 31.22. Now the next bit, you've got to calculate the area of this sector. So we've done the triangle, we're now going to calculate the area of the sector when you'll use the area of the sector formula. Okay, so I'm going to give you another minute to have a go at that. Okay, that's our minute up.
John asked to.
Do you know what to do?
You just add them together, don't you?
No, you don't add them together.
No, you don't, because the whole thing is this. This is the whole thing.
So you just take
Right, and then you just-
43.21. No,
you just
77.3644.
Take away that.
Take away, yeah.
This take away what?
No, 77.36.
That's the angle.
Oh, sugar.
No,
Wait.
what's the area of this? What did we do? The area of the
The area
triangle.
of sector, the area of
Triangle.
triangle is here, isn't it?
So it's that. Oh, okay. So it's just this minus this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, we're out of time here. We've got a bit of confusion as to what the question is just here. So, the question was, find the length of ABC, was the question.
Yeah.
One of my students is working out areas of triangles, the other one's working out areas of sectors.
No.
Okay, so anyway, knowing that we've got to find that, we need to know the angle to find the length of that arc, and we need to know the radius. Well, we've got the radius, but we don't have the angle, so how are we going to find the angle? Well, we're given another piece of information here. This line here, we've got the 9 there. We also know that's 90 degrees. So knowing that's 90 degrees, knowing that's 9, knowing that's 5, we can find that angle there. Consequently, we can find the whole angle there and then take it away to get the other angle. So that's how we're going to do it. So let me just rub out some of that mess. And we just call this angle theta. And we know this side is 9. So we are going to label, this is our equal to our hypotenuse, and this is equal to our adjacent, and this is equal to our opposite. So we've got adjacent hypotenuse, so cos of theta will equal 5 over 9. So theta will equal inverse cos of 5 over 9.
Got that.
So theta equals 56.25 degrees. And you get at least 1 mark if you've got that far, if you work that angle out. So we are now going to, I'm going to call this angle here x. So therefore x will equal 360 minus 2 lots of theta. And that comes out as 247 and a bit degrees. When we do that, and then we can do the area of a sector for, not area, not doing area, we're doing arc length, sorry, we want the length of ABC. We nearly did it again. First time I did this question I found the area. So arc length, and you know the formula is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. If you just write that and don't actually work it out, you don't actually get any marks. You have to sew numbers going into the formula. So we put 2, 4, 7 point everything into 360 times by 2 times by pi times by the radius, which is 5, and when you've done all of that you get 21.59 something, and it says 3 significant figures, so that is 21.6 to 3 significant figures. Now one thing you'll note, look at how I've laid out my working. Okay, it all goes down. It's very easy for the examiner and marker to follow. Each stage is worked out. I often find students will right over here, 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 and eventually get to an answer down here. And it makes A, very difficult for the students to find their work out their answer, and B, very difficult for the examiner to give out marks. So if you can, try and make sure your answer is well structured. Hopefully we'll do another broadcast tomorrow. And we'll pick out another 2 questions from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8.